Hey, I'm Phil Ho, member of Local 16. We do a little bit more about rigging and rigging in the local. Particularly, we're going to be thinking about halls ABC, or ABC and G now, or Moscone West, or we're at the Chase Center, we're at the Cow Palace, we're at the Bill Graham Civic. There's two different thoughts, and we sort of did a little bit of point hanging, building a 5 basket, and putting it over a beam, around a beam, or through a beam. The thoughts for me are like, what can I do to make the point hit where the production rigger wants to make it hit? So there's two ways to do it. We either have a dead hang, so if we're like in Hall West, Moscone West, it's going to be an eye bolt. It's all going to be a dead hang. So it's going to be straight down off an eye bolt or off a stinger on a spanner truss with a span set. If we're moving into A, B, and C, it's going to be eye bolt to eye bolt, and it's going to be, you're going to have to use a bridle to create a point somewhere in between the two fixed points. For me, and bridle math, I'm just kind of keep it simple today, whatever the span is, you make the length of the legs the same. So if it's 10 feet from the bolts, or between point to point, you use a 10 and a 10, and that will give you an even bridle, which creates a point evenly between 2 points. If you need to change that point along a direction, we use something called a stack chain. This is a super common piece of equipment for changing the movement of the bridle one direction or another. If we're pulling points, the stack chain is going to be up high so the guys can work on it, and you're probably only going to get one stack chain per point. And since this is, we know this is about 8 feet in between, and this is about a 7-foot leg and a 7-foot leg. Each link is 4 inches long. 3 links, if I add 3 links here, it'll move the apex 1 foot this direction, or 1 foot that direction. When I make a production call and I'm calling bridles, I'm going to use 1 stack chain unless I need to get something super high between the 2 fixed points. And even in that, you should only have to use 1 stack chain or a 2-footer or something to move your point far enough back and forth. So, like I said, in an arena situation, stack chain up high. That way somebody can work on it while they're sitting on the beam after they've pulled on it. Vice versa, if you need to move the apex that direction, the stack chain would come to this side. When we're in a convention center, it's a little bit different. Because you're in a boom lift, we want to be able to work the point from the center. So instead of stack chain high, you come from eye bolt, say with a 5, eye bolt with a 5, and the stack chain is put in between here. So,
let me go wrong. And go ahead. Good.
Okay, so we've created a point. This is like an ABC point where you have 2 eye bolts. We're in slings right now, but imagine there are eye bolts here. We've got a 5 down leg and a 5 down leg, and we have a stack chain in between. Now, to change the point, we can do one of 2 things. We could subtract links, which makes this a little bit longer, this a little bit shorter, or we can do what we call as, I'd call it grabbing links. I'm not sure if there's a particular term for it, but the stack chain is end to end, and shackles are made. Yeah, we just, our stack chain is in between here. We're trying to make a point, may say right here. We push down. It creates the rest of the bridle here. We understand that we want to subtract more links than less, because we don't want the links to be holding weight, we want the shackle to be holding point. So we push down. There's usually a laser going here. Just hit your hand, this is where the point wants to be. We grab a link, put it in, bury 2 links, put the other link in, and now we've created an intermediate point between the 2 points in the ceiling. We always want to have these 2 shackles free. We don't want them bound. We want the center shackle here, the load shackle, taking the weight. A couple other things about bridles you should know is, as the legs get flatter or steeper, there's more tension. The perfect amount of tension, you get to 100% load with a dead hang coming straight down with the wire rope. As the legs get flatter and flatter and flatter, the tension on the legs increases. When you get to about 120 degrees, if the load's 1,000 pounds, then we've doubled the load on each piece of wire rope. At 130 degrees, we've tripled it. So as we do our bridling, we have to think about our weight loading, our loading potential of what's in the ceiling, and the flatter the bridle is, the harder it is to pull. So that's just a quick lesson on wire rope, legs, and creating a point in between. I'm sure there's going to be questions. I'm happy to answer them. Yeah, it's philippo701@gmail.com. Or you can call me if you have your phone number. I'd love to answer as many questions as possible. And that's going to be it for today. Thank you very much.
Recording?
Great. Okay, so we're getting a little bit more of a close-up here of what's really going on here. We talked about the 5-basket for a connection to a beam or whatever, some kind of ceiling, tube, whatever it is. In Moscone A, B, and C, it's going to be an eye holes instead of the 5-basket. Eye holes over there to the 5-basket. When we've made connections in the ceiling, we've talked about the center connection. When you are working from a beam, the stack chain wants to be in a high position so you can adjust it. It's going to be on one side or the other, so you can adjust the point one way or the other from center. In the perfect bridle situation, where this is 8 feet between, the legs are 8 feet in either direction. 1, 2, 3, this is 4 inches per length. 3 links will move you 1 foot in one direction or 1 foot in another direction. So a full chack chain will move you about 3 feet plus a couple inches because you have a shackle out in the top.